What does Ghandi and Occupy Wall Street have in common?
I mean, the one definite thing is the fact that it encouraged collective action for people to, for people to act against something that they feel is unfair or is not for the greater good of humanity. That's a definite one.
So that's definitely what they have in common. But the one was led by, the whole movement was led by Ghandi, which is one man. And Occupy Wall Street is led by who? We don't know.
We don't know the guy, but it's definitely.
But it's not by one guy.
It was started by a guy, or is an idea that was started by someone. It must have been started by someone.
You always have one person who starts it, and part of this.
Yeah, but my point is, none of us can tell us what the name is of the guy. I think it is there, but someone started it.
There's a common pain that's shared amongst many people. In Gandhi's time, it was the fact that they were being down-pressed and trod on by the English.
Yes.
Here, there's that fear of the financial system crash. There's a pain that's not being resolved, and normally you get a catalyst, and then suddenly people go, well, I agree with that, and you get that momentum started. You're talking about how social media has been used and maybe accelerating the system compared to Ghandi. Do you want to talk a bit more about that?
In this sense, a lot of people, as we know, a lot more people are followers. A lot of people have been followers through the ages.
Yes.
And social media, with such elements as crowdsourcing, makes it possible for the people who would have been passive, who would have been followers, whose voices would never have been heard, to come out through social media by them mentioning things, and those things that they mention become part of the collective consciousness, and someone else with 5 followers there will say it, and another guy with 10,000 followers, and someone else with 300 followers who is probably an activist. But
then aren't people just talking online about it, and they're like armchair activists. They're just sitting there talking about it, and there's all these tweets going, let me retweet and I'll retweet that. But is stuff actually being changed in the world?
It definitely is. I mean, all those very same armchair activists occupied Wall Street. They started Black Monday, or is it Black Friday? Armchair activists, the perceived armchair activists led to the revolts in Libya, in the change in Egypt. So there are definitely things that are happening because of
there's power in numbers.
And raising people's consciousness as well about an issue or about things.
One thing that you brought up that was quite good is the fact that you're talking about these ideas bubbling up. So you have maybe one person in the middle of nowhere mentioning one idea to his 5 friends, which is a good idea. And those bubbling from them all the way up to the people who, with the 1,000 followers or the 3,000 followers. And then it bubbles back down again. And it's a sharing of ideas and purifying of those ideas.
Yes.
That is, I would say, one of the great strong points of social media. When in the old days you would have one person at the top with their ideas and going down.
And I mean, this might have, because the web accelerates conversation so much, and it also makes very fascinating and interesting case studies very old pretty quickly. Barack Obama approached armchair activists, or wanted first to be known to armchair activists. I mean, Shaquille O'Neal is one of those people who were very influential on Twitter very early, and these very people that we refer to as armchair activists led to the presidency, the new president of the current president rather of the United States. So I'm not sure. So
by armchair activists, I mean someone who's just sitting literally in their room. They don't ever go out and do anything. Are those guys, though, the reason they have such a big following is because they're also active out in the world? Because this whole thing about social media is that it is leading to less interaction. It's saying that people are becoming reclusive, and our social skills are actually being eroded away because of social media.
That's not true for everyone. I mean, I met you guys online and virtually, and now you're two of my best friends.
If anything, I go out more. If anything, I find more niche activities that I would be interested in, as someone who loves video gaming, as someone who wants to do extreme sports, as someone who, so I find smaller and smaller groups that are interested more and more in the things that I'm interested in. And as a result, I connect with people from a common purpose, with a common goal, and other conversations come up out of that.
And a mastermind arrives sometimes.
a mastermind walks into
it's
a
very
bar.
much so. It's the way you use social media. Because we were talking then about, you have a complaint, a lot of people just moan. So it's the level of, or the way you use it.
Yeah, well, social media has so
moan, or
many.
do you
Because-
moan and direct it at and ask the company that you're moaning, complaining to?
from two different. I'll answer your question from two different perspectives. There are people who just moan, yes, and there are, on the other hand, there are people who's moaning about a particular brand or about a particular experience actually diminishes the score or the points that brand has based on public perceptions and how
This
likely
their influence then.
because of how likely people are likely to talk negatively or positively about a particular brand or product.
In that brand being aware of their points being degraded, then they then become, I'm assuming, aware of how they need to fix that to regain those points, if you want to.
Yes, and to improve those perceptions to the public, right? So, I mean, in South Africa right now, I won't mention the bank's name, but there's a bank that is very active, that is perceived to be more active online, and as a result, we are talking about them as being one of the most innovative banks in South Africa. So if you want a bank that will appeal to your needs and one that you think is innovative and will probably meet up to your needs now as someone who is tech savvy, that would be the bank. And we all know who that bank is
because
as a result.
because you enjoy that means of communication, and that company will talk back to you.
Yes.
Be able to have this. So I wonder what would have happened though if Ghandi had social media and he could have those 2 million people talking back to him, and he could see what they were saying. If it would have, if the movement would have happened faster for him.
I personally think, and I don't know Ghandi, but I think that he would have, other people would have spread his message. I think he would have carried on being with people and communicating with people directly. But bloggers would have blogged about him, tweeters would have tweeted about him, and there would have been Facebook pages up. I mean, there are today, but
So then it goes back to our question. So, why wouldn't you have used it? Why are we using it today?
Because I think I say that I think he would have used it, but he wouldn't have used it as much as I use it, because
Yes.
I use it
You would
for
have used it very strategically.
yes,
probably,
I
and-
use it for professional purposes and personal purposes. So chances are his message would have spread that much faster, because when he would have given an hour-long speech at a square somewhere, there would have been 1,000 people listening and 1,000 people tweeting his every word.
And as coming back, some of those people would be evangelists for him.
Yes.
So it's basically accelerating and multiplying his effect through the followers.
And then-
and there would have been videos and so much more that
Yeah.
would have
I
got his
think-
message.
Yes, and there
they've
wouldn't be
always-
there wouldn't be so many crickets on clouds
I
as
think
there are now.
I think he was a simple man, and I don't think he liked ostentatious stuff. And I think that gadgets and things would have been. I think he would have.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have liked that, because he could have spent that money on a person. He was a great advocate for changing poverty and having people not live in poverty. So for him, it probably wouldn't have make sense to spend money on technology, but he would have had people who would, like you and
Mongezi.
Mo, and we would have tweeted about him.
But it also- and-
every step of the way.
It's interesting to see what's happening now then with Occupy Wall Street, and how
Because-
everything they're doing and organizing is through social media. They're still meeting, but they're organizing where they're going to meet and what time and for the purpose through social media and getting their message out. So yeah, it's a very interesting topic, and I think we could go around in circles.
Dream about
but
Ghandi tonight.
Tweeting.
Okay, tweeting. Sorry.
With blue birds in your dreams and whales.
if you want to watch more and hear us talk a bit more about other topics, watch our other shows on
And how mindstorming?
masterminding.
And what's all about it, and how you can use this to achieve some of the things that Ghandi did achieve.
Yeah, we were talking about that. So you can see the full show around masterminding on ltp.letstalknetwork.com.